Really, watch your notes and count. 33. 1, 2, 3.
Privileged to have with us some members from St. Michael's Lutheran Church. They've been a member, a resident, if you will, I guess, of our community for some 30 years. And you also, I think, would probably get a sort of an impression that maybe that they also brought their bell choir with them to favor us with a short concert this evening. I told Cindy that the director that we would have about maybe 40 minutes and to kill. No. She's going to try and work in a program in that time. But before we have that, I understand that we have an almost charter member of the congregation in the person of Carol Graybaum, who is going to tell us a little bit about the congregation so that we become familiar with one of our neighbors. And Carol, would you care to tell us all about it? Thank you.
I don't know if you're all going to be able to hear me or not.
Well, now this is this is a pastor's delight, because he would have a congregation of 3 rows. The front row for those who like to sit up front and be seen, and the back row for those who can't bear to sit anywhere near and would like to hide behind somebody, and those that can't make up their mind.
Oh, okay. Okay. We had thought perhaps of playing a piece and then by saying something and then playing another piece, but this is fine.
So go ahead. Whatever you plan. That's fine. Okay. It's your program. If that's what you'd like to do, go right ahead.
I'm going to kind of split it up here a little bit.
Or the director of this choir, and I believe that I understand we have 3 of them, is Cindy Grenada. And I hope I got that close enough, huh? Okay. Good. It's yours, Cindy.
Okay.
Just been down here.
This one which is entitled Hail Thee Festival Day. It's English hymn, and in our hymnal, it happens to be in the hymnal for 3 seasons. It has words that have been written for the Easter season, for the Ascension season, and for the Pentecost season. So this is a song that fits right now the Easter season that we're in. you an idea as you're watching us, we're playing. They're set up in the same order that a piano keyboard would be set up. With if you were standing back behind the table, this would be the piano keyboard in front of you, the low note sits this end, the high note sits this end. So you, as you play, as you watch, you can kind of get the idea. Think of it as a piano, and each person is playing one of the keys on the piano.
How many total bells?
40, well, we've got 4 full octaves.
45?
45, I think it is, yeah.
This is just the brief history of St. Michael Lutheran Church. I didn't want to get really long-winded. In June of 1961, a young and very tall, 6'7" seminary graduate from Concordia, St. Louis, Reverend Paul Dorn, was called by the Michigan District Mission Board of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod to begin a church in the Wayne area. As soon as he and his bride arrived, he began canvassing the area by foot with the help of Lutherans from other area churches. The first small group of worshipers held services at Schweitzer Elementary School on Glenwood, beginning on October 22, 1961, and was known at that time as the Lutheran Church of Western Wayne. Soon after, however, it was decided to name the church St. Michael Lutheran, and even though they were a small but growing group of Christians, they felt the need for a church building of their own, with enough land so that they could also build a school someday, for many expressed a desire for a Christian day school. So in July of 1962, 7.5 acres was purchased at the corner of Glenwood and Hannon Road, the northwest boundaries of the city of Wayne. January 24, 1963, groundbreaking for St. Michael Lutheran Church began, and on September 15th, the dedication service was held. To accommodate the ever-growing number of children in the congregation, a weekday school program was begun, and communicant membership was now 200. In February of '66, Reverend Paul Dorn took a call to Dunkirk, New York, and by August of that year, St. Michael's installed their second pastor, Reverend D. Paul Nelson, a graduate from Concordia Seminary in Springfield, Illinois. He was the pastor there until 1971. Then Reverend Alan J. Brown became the third pastor of St. Michael in 1972. During 1974, St. Michael in Wayne and St. Matthew in Westland entered an inter-parish day school agreement, with St. Matthew providing facilities for Christian education for approximately 30 children from St. Michael, and St. Michael providing 1 teacher. And so St. Michael called his first teacher, Nancy Hemler, to teach grades 4 and 5. She was a graduate of Concordia River Forest, Illinois, and had been teaching in Texas. September of 1974 found St. Michael taking part in the startup of the Community Fish Program, along with 9 other congregations from the Wayne-Westland area. And in '79, St. Michael began a preschool program that has continued to prove successful.
And by the way, our first teacher is Nancy right here, who filled in for me while I had my baby, and so she's now playing instead of directing. I should tell you the title of the piece. The title of the piece is called Bless This Child, and it was written by a grandfather for the baptism of his grandson.
Michael broke ground for a new sanctuary with a larger narthex, offices, and nursery. Member Freeman Hasselbeck provided a single-horse plow that everyone helped on by pulling with a large rope. The basic structure was built by the contractor, and the remainder completed by the congregational members in over 4,000 working hours. The congregation had grown, and more room was needed for worship. The new building was dedicated in February of 1980. In the spring of 1982, St. Michael received a wonderful gift of a new 3-octave set of handbells. 2 adult groups were soon formed, with a children's group coming later. Early September of that year, St. Michael also was given a large church bell to be rung for the beginning and end of worship services by Harold Verditsky of Youth Funeral Home. The bell was once part of a church on a farm near Sumter and Arkram Road. It had also been used by St. Paul Church in Belleville before they built a new structure. Also in September of that year, the St. Michael dream of its own day school came true by the calling of the church principal and teacher, Mr. Harv Schmidt. The number of children continued to grow, so in 1985, St. Michael began construction of a school building. Again, most work was done by congregational members, and the school building was dedicated in March of 1987. While St. Michael continued to grow and reach out to the area, the need for more help was requested, and help came in the form of a called lay minister, Mr. Edwin Ott, who would assist the pastor with the many growing programs of the church. It was almost a year after Pastor Brown took the call to Roseville, Minnesota, that Reverend Thomas Worsing became the next pastor to St. Michael in 1986. 1987 was a big year for St. Michael, and for the 25th anniversary celebration, the current as well as all the former pastors were on hand. The congregation now numbers 750 baptized members. In the summer of 1990, St. Michael tried something new for Vacation Bible School by bringing biblical times closer to the children, with 12 tents set up for the 12 tribes of Israel. A ram's horn was blown at the start of each day, and famous biblical persons such as Moses were on hand to tell the children what life would have been like back then. By 1991, with St. Michael continually growing, it was felt that an assistant pastor was needed, and so a graduate of Concordia Seminary in St. Louis was called, Reverend Carl Ganebu, who would assist Reverend Worthing with the preaching and activities of the congregation. Cynthia Ganebu became the music director for St. Michael, and along with other duties formed a brass ensemble composed of congregational members. During the same year, St. Michael worked on an interior expansion program so that there would be more seating space in the current sanctuary as well as additional narthex space. This program also included the wonderful addition of a pipe organ that was dedicated in January of 1993. St. Michael continues to grow with the help of the Lord, and with a current baptized membership over 1,000, there are plans getting underway for a new building program in the near future.
The next piece is entitled Canon in D by Pachelbel, and I'm sure many of you, once you hear it, you'll be very familiar with the piece.
keep changing positions?
So they don't get bored playing the same
Where did the bells originate?
They're made in
No, I mean the concept of
the English.
bell choir.
The English. And these bells are made in, they're made in Pennsylvania. I think it's Sellersville, Pennsylvania. They're made by the Schumerick Bell Company. And we had the huge big bells down here. These 5 were purchased with memorial money, and it took them 6 months to get here. It took them 6 months to get the whole process
We have bell
done.
choirs, but I've
Yeah.
never ever thought about where the idea.
No, the English started there, the English hand bells.
How did they make that popping?
Lay on the side and then they, yeah. By this setting on the table, it won't ring. So it makes the popping noise. The clapper will hit the bell. See, when it hits the table, it dampens it, doesn't make that instead of the ringing noise. Well, that's good.
I can't believe that you have 45 sheets of material here, and you can't give us at least one more.
You want to do Immortal Invisible?
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes, I do.
Didn't I play yours?
Yeah.
We should play the one I want.
Okay, we're there.
Oh, you're on this side over here. Wait a minute. You're up there.
It's not a soft garden here. Here we are, all planned.
I can't believe a Lutheran chorus not giving us the battle hymn of...
Mighty fortress is our God.
I spoke
Oh, I thought you wanted a sermon, that's what you're going to say.
no.
Don't get him started. Don't let it.
He preaches a sermon.
They know.
They know, huh?
When I talked to Pastor Tom Wersing about 2 years ago, he said, well, I'll see to it that we have some type of a history for you. And during that conversation, I said, I thought that possibly that, don't you have a bell choir over there also? And he said, well, I don't know. Well, I'll have to see. And was oddly enough, the next time I met him, he had a young fellow in tow with him, and it happened to be at a funeral. And they both came, and I introduced myself to him, and he says, oh, I remember. Yes, I remember. And he said, here, let me introduce you to my assistant, or my associate pastor here. He's just new here, and he wants to get acquainted and what have you. And I never realized that I was talking to his wife for quite a few months before I just realized about a week ago that it was the pastor's wife that I was talking to. And I really want to thank you, your congregation, your choir, for the splendid job that you've done for us here. I'm sure that the small group that's here enjoyed it. I'm sure that they will also go back and tell those who were not here what they missed.
Right.
And, well, she called me. And I don't know what else I could say other than thank you. I'm sure that we also want to thank you.
How often does the bell choir perform at church?
We perform once a month.
Once a month.
Uh-huh.
First of the month?
No, it's not regular.
No, we have three.
We have three bell
Two adult groups and one children.
A lot of them
Thursday
are
night.
in one choir, one bell choir, but they're not in, some of them are in one, some of them are in two.
Two, yeah. I don't know, I
Depending on
think we've
their
got a
size.
couple that are in two, but pretty much they all.
I understand also you have a children's choir, bell choir.
Children's bell choir too, yeah.
Okay, all right. And I think that that's really reaching out and bringing up the kids from, and they'll have a group soon that should be able to play even Mighty Morpheus.
I to put in a plug for our day school. Friday evening, May 21st, the children will be doing their spring operetta. It's entitled Beauty and the Beast, the story of Esther. And it starts at 7 o'clock. So if you're looking for something to do, Friday evening, May 21st, they will be doing that.
Okay, there's an opportunity for you to witness their kids. As a just an ordinary person, I'm really pleased to welcome your church to Wayne community, and I'm glad that you were able to provide us with a permanent record. And for those of you who didn't see it, I have here the story that the gal told here, and we're going to put it here in the museum for future record.
Great.
Okay? Virginia, how are we fixed down there?
I think we have to wait for the coffee just a few seconds more.
You want me to preach?